Hi guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome if you are new. I'm feeling so good today, just kind of in a lazy Sunday housekeeping kind of mood. I'm on my second cup of coffee and I am ready to do some electronics housekeeping. I have pets in my apartment and unfortunately it can sometimes spell a bit of a dust disaster for me. I have my vintage electronics sprinkled throughout my living space, so there's several times a month where I have to just like go in, reorganize things because I just love reorganizing, but also remove any dust, debris, clean everything out. So that's going to happen, but also, and the main point of today's video, I am going to be re-greasing two of my VCRs, one of them being a VCR DVD combo, and the other one being my Panasonic PV-V4520 that was featured in one of my videos. You're typically not supposed to need to grease VCRs in their lifetime. It's not something that comes up. One other instance would be if the glue on the VCR has gunked up and kind of balled up and turned hard, which can happen. Unless you're like me, who thought that the grease in my VCRs was actually glue, the glue that needed to be removed. I want to thank all of the commenters in my Panasonic video for pointing out that the glue that I was removing in that video is not glue at all. It is grease that lubricates the system and makes sure that the parts don't seize up and brush up against each other without there being any grease involved. So thank you to my viewers and commenters for educating me on that. I feel kind of silly now in hindsight for doing it, but I'm just glad that I saw the comments and that honestly the video gained traction before I had a chance to use these units too much. Really the only thing I did with that Panasonic after I filmed it and before I saw the comments about the grease was watch Pretty Woman 2 times, which is one of my favorite movies. And I haven't had the chance to do this either because I've been out on vacation and I'm just itching to get it done. I have the motivation to do this as well because I acquired a couple new VHS tapes at the thrift store. We have a couple children's instructional videos. This is Maisie. I totally remember Maisie as a kid, but forgot about her until I saw her in the thrift. Also have the Rainbow Fish, which is a classic, and then this TDK blank tape. It actually has The Windsors, A Royal Family Part 2 on it, but my intentions are to wipe this tape and use it for potentially some recording, hint hint. Let's first talk about the grease that I ended up going with. I heard a lot of suggestions in the comments. Somebody suggested WD-40, which I'm just gonna say in this video, based off of pretty much every resource I've seen, don't use WD-40 in your VCRs. I also saw lithium grease being mentioned, and I think the other one was Molykote, which Molykote is the one I ended up going with. Grease is also a fascinating subgenre niche in the world. Of course, I guess grease is used in a lot of electronics, but not just electronics, automotives, machinery, all that stuff. I had no idea, and this was like an entirely new rabbit hole that I had to go down, and I spent a lot of time researching and, as usual, the theme of this channel, confusing myself more and more as I did the research. But eventually, I landed on this. I found it on Amazon as per usual, and it is this synthetic polyethylene PAO lubricant grease. It's called M-Coat EM30L, and then there's some other jargon on there, but I purchased this on Amazon. I'll leave it in the description box down below. It's not affiliated. I'm not trying to make commission. I just feel like these things are kind of difficult to find, so if I find something that hopefully works out and is easier to get shipped or easily accessible, I want to make sure that I include those in my description box so you guys can find them as well. The reviews that I saw for this grease mentioned DVD disc optical drives and just like small electronics in general, so that gave me me a good, comforting feeling that this is probably a decent one to go with. It also, I think, is compatible with plastic and metal, which seems to be a bit of an issue with other products. It has like little pictures of gears on it. I think these look like VCR gears to me, but maybe I'm just assuming like a metal, a plastic, and I guess like that's possibly a hybrid. Either way, we're gonna be doing that today. I'm gonna be watching, and you guys won't see this part, but I'll be watching my old footage back to see where I touched both of these VCRs and making sure that I'm reapplying the grease, but also making sure that any of the grease that like is left over from what I didn't completely remove is removed as well, because if you're gonna re-grease a VCR, you wanna make sure that the old grease is removed, because you don't want to start mixing different greases, and it's just like a whole thing. And this one, honestly, if I remember correctly, did not have a lot of grease on it. My Magnavox combo down here, which the Panasonic year 2000, the Magnavox 2008, so a couple years older. The Magnavox had a ton of grease in there. It was all greased up and I removed it. So that's gonna be a bit of a problem. My Panasonic is my daily driver, the one that I go for and use. The Magnavox is a childhood VCR. This was the second VCR I had in my childhood and also the last. So there's some sentimental value to it, but in terms of like the actual value of this unit, I would say that this is like the bottom of the barrel tier of VCR, so I'm not as concerned about this one. Okay, I think that is enough chitter chatter. Hopefully I covered everything that I planned on in this introduction. Let's get into some overhead footage where you guys will actually see me applying this synthetic polyethylene PAO lubricant grease on my VCR. Learned this from my viewers. Appreciative again. Excited to do this so I can actually watch some damn tapes. All right, let's do it. Do you guys see just like the little teeny tiny dust particles that have collected over pretty much like a month, I guess? It's so tough having rabbits because they shed every couple of seasons and their sheddings are crazy, and catching the hair with the air purifier, not as easy as it sounds. So I'm in the process of just opening this up. I literally hate taking the top off of this one because it's really tough to get back on. Like it's fine getting it off, but getting it back on is just like not the best. If you haven't seen the back of this guy, or if you didn't watch my last video, here's some specs, input output jacks, no S video, which kind of sucks. But yeah, I need to like dust this as I go. They're not over here, but I have coffee filters and I'm just kind of like very carefully using them just because I don't want any of this stuff to get inside the guts of this VCR. Here is another thing that I learned from my last video. This here, which I originally thought was a clock battery, is actually a capacitor. And I'm familiar with the late 90s, early 2000s capacitor destruction problem in like vintage tower PCs and those types of things, but I did not know that it extended to VCRs and I guess any capacitor bearing technology in the late 90s, early 2000s. So that kind of sucks. I don't know a lot about capacitors, but I wanted to give you guys a better look at it. There's not too much I can do about it, at least not at the moment. Didn't read up on how to replace a capacitor, nor do I have a new capacitor with me right now. But that is that. I'm assuming that these little guys here are also capacitors on these boards here. We also have a nice picture of the tape path here, so the grease needs to be applied on the tape path here, as you can see. I also need to reapply the grease here, this tape path as well. The grease was also removed there. I also wanted to give you guys a bit of a better shot of the pinch roller here. I saw one comment mention a certain time point in my video where it looked like the pinch roller may have been cracked. Spin her around a little bit. Maybe there's something I'm missing, but I wanted to show that as well. Besides that, everything's looking normal, fine. A little bit of dust and debris still, or maybe I'm just being nitpicky. Let's actually go to reapply the grease. I'm very nervous, you guys, if you can't tell. I'm putting it off. I've been procrastinating this. I probably could have done this a lot earlier, but I'm just like, I'm scared. All right, I believe I've studied the errors of my ways. It doesn't seem like I touched that much, just the tape path, and then I was doing a little bit of something here. I took screenshots, so I'm gonna come back to the screenshots as I'm doing this, but I will show you guys what this grease looks like now. It is kind of solid, looks like Greek yogurt. Doesn't smell bad. It's in this really tiny container too. I didn't want to get like a huge thing because I don't think I'm gonna need all of that. I've watched a couple of videos of other people doing this. They just use a Q-tip and say that you need a little tiny bit of an amount. It seems like it's much better to have not enough than it is to have too much, because then you're drowning the VCR and that's going to cause its own unique set of problems. So I've got a Q-tip and I'm just gonna dab into the grease a little bit. I think that's probably more than enough. And I'm gonna gently rub it along the tape path. Careful, making sure that I'm not hitting the heads. Maybe that second coffee was a mistake because my hands are kind of shaky. Grabbing a new Q-tip. Just making sure I didn't get it anywhere it's not supposed to be. So that's the tape path. We're gonna do the sides too. I feel like this was the worst offender, the sides. That's where I just kind of went ham. This side right here, you guys can see it is crystal clean now. I don't really even think, this is just a dry Q-tip. I don't really think I need to go any further in terms of cleaning it. And I'm gonna defer to my screenshots for this one. Let me see, how much was on there? This stuff is clear, unlike the old grease, which kind of makes it tough to see what I'm doing. All right, we've got a tape here to test. I also fuddled with this a little bit more off camera. Watched a couple extra tutorials just to make sure I was comfy to actually get this baby in here. So we've got a tape. Let's pray that it takes it. All right, it's taking it just fine. Fabulous, nice and quiet. This VCR is very, very quiet, which I'm appreciative of. The next thing I want to do is see how it ejects. All right, not bad. Pushes out fine there. I think the grease is moving about a bit, I guess. Okay, I was not sold on this, as you can see by the slow motion. I just felt like the tape path was just struggling a little bit. So I ended up taking the VCR apart way more. I took the top cover off. I also removed the chassis from the board. I took a look at the mode switch and also the gears at the bottom here. Added some extra grease at the bottom, messed around with it. I think I might have done something to the mode switch. And then when I put it back together, I made the rookie mistake of not holding the tape door up before I put the door on, so I couldn't get the door back on. It was a whole thing. But I think we're good now. It's moving a lot smoother. I do kind of wish that I hadn't touched the mode switch by accident, because I feel like it's out of place, but I don't know how to fix it. So, and it's one of those situations where the more you touch it, the worse it gets. So I'm pretty pleased with where we are now. It works just fine. I can record tapes and watch my tapes, and that's really all I can ask for. So if another issue comes up that prevents it from actually working, I'll touch it. But for now, lesson learned, just let it be. But, now I know how to take the chassis off, which is also cool. Here is the back of the Magnavox unit in case you guys are interested. We have June 2008. This one actually does have component inputs, which is cool. Also S-Video. It's kind of funny to me that this one has S-Video, but my Panasonic doesn't. That's what the back looks like. And then here we have the DVD component on this side, a couple ribbon cables, and not too much going on here. I don't really know a lot about servicing DVD players at all. I purchase my DVD players as is. I just don't know enough about them to be finicking with them, but this is what it looks like. And then here is our VCR. Before we re-grease though, I would love for you guys to hear the noise that comes out of this VCR. Now, it's always made this noise ever since I had this as a kid, literally day one. I remember it making this little moaning noise, but it has only increased with age. And then of course I went in and cleaned it and removed all of the grease, so it made the noise significantly worse. I haven't used this since I cleaned it, which is a couple months ago, so I am using a test tape, my Alaska tape, because I'm not worried about what happens with this tape. I'm really hoping though that it doesn't eat it or do anything that would be weird. I just kind of want you guys to hear the noise, and then once I grease this back up, I'm gonna see and maybe like listen for if the noise improves. Okay, well that's interesting. The noise is actually a lot quieter now. It used to be this like mwah, mwah, mooing sound. If I have a clip somewhere, I'll pop it in right now. Pretty much all that I gotta do, I guess, is grease this up and see if it makes it even more quiet. I'm pretty happy to see that there's no moaning noise, at least currently. Let me power this off and unplug it as well. Safety first, y'all. Don't want to be working an electronic item with the power on. That is just like not good business. Same thing here. We will be applying some grease on the tracks. This one is set up a little bit differently, but I can, and you know what? I can actually see it here that it looks like a lot of the plastic gears like in here don't, let me see if I can lift this up so you guys can see, they don't seem to have like any lubrication in there. Unlike the Panasonic, I definitely saw a decent bit of grease that I didn't or wasn't able to touch like in this inner portion here. So that's probably not helping the situation out either. I'm gonna be a lot, not that I'm gonna be haphazard, but I am gonna be a lot less cautious with this one than I am with my Panasonic, because I paid a lot for that Panasonic and I sought it out, all of that stuff. This is more like something, if I break this, I mean, I'll probably keep it no matter what, but if I broke this, I can take myself to Facebook Marketplace or take myself to the thrift store and find myself another one, probably lickety split. So as much as, oh my God, how did I not see this? I think you guys know, or maybe you don't, but maybe you caught it in the beginning. See this head right here? We've got an automatic head cleaner. Oh, I'm excited because I can talk about this for a second. So this little dirty swab right here that you guys see, this is an automatic head cleaner. If you've serviced or cleaned VCRs, you are definitely familiar with these little jerks. They're basically put into VCRs to, like, quote unquote clean the heads every time the tape would spin around the reel. But what happens is the head cleaner itself gets gunked up, and then you end up making your tapes worse and messing with them and like doing all of this stuff that just isn't, they're not helpful, and there's really no reason for them to be here. So I am going to remove this little guy. There that little head cleaner devil is. This is planned obsolescence at its finest. Look at how dirty and gross it is. It's also like, ooh, I'm just not pleased that I didn't catch that earlier. There is still like a little bit of a piece of plastic here, but This kind of just like sits here. It shouldn't cause too much of an issue, but it is also kind of close to the tape path, so I do want to push it at least like that so it's not clunking about. Honestly, I might want to glue it down at one point, but I'm not in the business of investing too heavily into time and effort into this guy. This is kind of more like my for funsy VCR, where I'm not as stressed out as I am working on that Panasonic. But yeah, we're just going in with some of the grease. You guys didn't see this cleaning, but cleaning, quotation marks. I mean, I cleaned it, but I cleaned it too good, I guess. Alright, so we've got that pesky little automatic head cleaner removed, and I think we've got it greased up a little bit. So what I'm gonna do is do a test tape, and we shall see if that helps, if not completely eliminates that little noise that I've pretty much been hearing since I first ever used a VCR as a kiddo. So we can still hear that little grindy sound. I think that's honestly just the way this guy was built. I don't really use this VCR too much, but I do feel a bit better knowing that it's been greased. So at the very least, I can still use this. And if not, at least I have it for the, you know, for the childhood memories. Now, as some of you guys may be thinking, just because we have functionally proficient VCRs does not mean that they're going to be functionally proficient on the TV. So I'm going to be demoing a couple tapes for you guys. And yeah, we're going to do the Panasonic first though. And let's do a test tape. I'm going to go, I showed you guys Pretty Woman a couple times, but I know this one works proficiently. So let's pop this in here, see what we get. Calibrating for the picture, if you hear those little beep beeps. There we go.
And now, our feature presentation.
Oh, I love that. I love that little touchstone intro. All right. So that is good. This Sharp has pretty good sound quality as well. It's really a shame that the capacitors are going on this guy. If I keep this on for more than like an hour and a half, there's like this little bit of burnout in here that gets slightly bigger, and then it starts to get really hot and smell like burnt plastic a bit. So like every TV I buy, it's not in the most functional condition, but figured that would be cool to show. Let's also do the Rainbow Fish, because this is a new tape to me. I've never played it before. I don't think it's completely rewound though, which is a bit annoying. Yeah, it's not rewound, so let's rewind this a bit. I've never played this tape before, by the way. It's from 1997, so not sure what the condition is of it. It's a children's tape though, and those tend to be a little bit more worn out than others, in my experience at least. It's so loud, I'm sorry. Alright, so everything's looking good with our Panasonic. I'm really looking forward to watching this tape at my own leisure time later. Looks like it's going to be a cute little story. I'm very excited for that. So that is the Rainbow Fish. Let's do one more because I can't help myself. Maisie. Count with Maisie. This one's new as well. This one is rewound though. Thank you to the previous owner for rewinding their tape. Let's see what this one's like.
For anyone who's ever experienced the beauty, the majesty, and the wonder of the Land Before Time feature-length animated.
All right, let's fast forward through the ads now. We are not here for ads. You never know. Some tapes, they, like children's tapes specifically, which I'm pretty interested in. Some of them have like a whole bunch of ads and some of them not so much. This one doesn't seem to be as bad. No sound because I looked up their YouTube channel and the only videos of this content is their official YouTube channel. So I just have a feeling that it's going to get copyright claimed. But I mean, really, you're not missing out on much. It's just the tape playing while I ecstatically yell about how I completely forgot about this. All right, next we have the combo unit. We're going to do our Alaska tape. If you know, you know. Input to video CC. Okay. Let's see here. Maybe it's the AV cables. I mean, I can't imagine that it's that. Let me try a different input. Oh, okay. There it goes. That was weird. Maybe the VCR doesn't support S-video. I don't know. I don't know why that happened. Let me rewind this though, first of all. Maybe? Oh, there we go. Please adjust the tracking. I don't think this is the same Alaska tapes that I usually use. I have 2 Alaska tapes.
Has always beckoned to adventurers.
Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase, one of my most coveted movies, childhood movies of all time. Let us see what that looks like, because I know exactly what this is supposed to sound like. Oh wait, let us fast forward through all of this. Speaking of a lot of advertisements in a movie, this one has quite a few. I've got them memorized. You're a wizard, Harry. I'm a what? Which, fun fact, I was not allowed to watch Harry Potter at all growing up as a kid, so like watching this ad, I used to get super stressed because I was like, oh no, I'm not supposed to be watching this. Pokemon, another thing I was not supposed to watch, or not allowed to watch, ironically. I don't know what could have been with me and Pokemon, but I was not allowed to consume it. Also, this Cats and Dogs ad, I actually just bought the VHS at the thrift store the other day. It's in real nice condition too. So I have this movie. I have plans on watching this, maybe even tonight if I have enough time. Grandma got run over by rain. Yep. I never was appealed by Christmas movies. There's a couple I really liked, but not most of them, no.
Oh, snack attack!
Have some pizza, Scooby.
Yeah, pizza! Try to fool him.
Want more pizza, Scooby?
And he knows.
That's not pizza.
I love this.
New Snack Attack Scooby-Doo comes with his own special snacks and says over 50 fun phrases. Look for Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase, an all-new movie.
Like wow! Stay tuned after the movie for some special bonus scenes and to see groovy hints for the new Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase video game.
All right, you guys, that is it for today's video, re-greasing my VCRs and also doing a teeny little bit of housekeeping. I didn't get as much done as I wanted to, but these projects always take way longer than a full day, and typically Sundays are the days that I have free to film and enjoy my hobbies and all that stuff. So if you like this video, I'd love to have you subscribe. We do all kinds of fun retro tech stuff on this channel. I have a lot of things I'm very passionate about, excited to talk about. I'm hoping that my VCR repairs are behind me for now though. I just want to use them, mostly my Panasonic of course, but I just want to use it and enjoy it and not be worried about finagling with it. So I'll definitely be more careful next time I do a quick spot clean just to make sure that everything's okay on the inside. So yeah, if you have any thoughts, comments, suggestions, stories, favorite things, if you liked the video, if you didn't like the video, love to hear it in the comments down below. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Thank you for being here on my channel, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!
New Snack Attack Scooby-Doo comes with his own special snacks and says over 50 fun phrases. Look for Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase, an all-new movie.